So we're here to solve this Battleships puzzle by Serkan. It has no number clues, which is a pretty neat thing to see in a grid, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be because of this even rows and columns constraint. One thing that may help everyone at the start of the puzzle like this is to kind of conceptualize in their head where ships are being placed, and around any of these cells in green, you can't have you can't have ships touch edge or corner adjacent to those cells, so we can mark C's all around them. The 2-unit ships as marked now could possibly extend, so I'm not marking off a cell like, say, this one or this one, because those could be further. As I'm putting these in, I see that I actually have 3 given submarines at the start of the puzzle, so there's only one more left, and I think that's going to probably cause tension. Like if we imagine the 4th submarine is here, then we're going to have to place another ship section down here, but it would have to be 2 units long. We'll have to place another ship up here. It's 2 units long because we effectively have used the last small ship. So let's keep in mind that we don't have a lot of space for another small ship. But let's come back and use some of our normal placement thinking of how do we place the largest ship into this battleships. A 4-unit ship is what we need, so I'm going to start with the columns, and until this 3rd column I don't have a space for one. But note in this column, if I put these 4 cells in yellow, or those 4 cells in yellow, I have a 5th cell in green, that's 5 ships in the column. That would break the rule, so the battleship can't be in the 3rd column. The 4th column doesn't have space for it. This 5th one looks interesting, except look at this cell. This cell is in a row that's got all C's except for this one space, and so it couldn't have a ship there. And in marking that, we now have killed this column off as an option for the battleship. There aren't 4 cells open in any of those remaining columns. There aren't 4 cells in these rows. There are as many as 6 cells there, and there's no other open space of 4 cells. So the battleship is somewhere in yellow. And remember at the start, these 2 are part of a ship, so there's no place the battleship is over here, except the battleship can be joining to the given clues. So we know for sure the battleship takes these. We'll mark C's around it. This 2nd row has only 1 cell left, and it can't be a ship because it would put an odd number there, but this row needs to get to 6. It had 5, and in doing so, we've placed the last submarine. And so now every place I have just a single cell I can mark as unusable, because we have effectively, we will always need to be placing 2-unit or larger ships. And that's going to be a pretty key constraint. On this rightmost column, we don't have a space for a 3rd ship because of the even row and column constraint. That now leaves a single cell here. This now as a single cell in the column can't be filled. This already is even. We have now a single cell here for this space and no more submarines to place, so that comes in. That now says that this ship here is 2 large, not 3 large for sure. And we can fill that in. Yes, we still don't immediately know a lot more. I'm thinking the most interesting cells right now are down here. And it's the case that one of these cells in blue will need to be a ship section so that this whole row has 2 total. Note we have 1 already in the grid, so one of these is a ship. One of these in the row above will have to be a ship, so we get enough total. And remember, we can't place any more submarines. So a cell like this one, if we placed a ship here, would have no ship to the right and no ship to the upper right, and that would be another submarine. So there is a ship section for sure here, and that means a ship section for sure right above it. And in this row, we now have 2 ships placed, so we're not going to take a 3rd. So we have a situation where we can mark in this ship. We have this column having a ship already placed, so we're going to need to take another cell with it. That marks these as unusable. This is going to have to be a ship section, and that actually gives us that this is 3 tall. 3 tall means we need to put another ship section up here, and it's going to need to take 1 more cell, so that's this. And we need to place the last 3-unit ship, and there's only that space left in the grid, and so we finish this puzzle. It definitely, for where this constraint was a pretty forcing constraint of even rows and columns, it didn't turn out to be too difficult. We could imagine a lot of harder battleships that probably also looked like this with no outside clues. But it started for usual clearing steps around ships of marking C's, finding where the battleship would go, recognizing the submarines had all been used, and then in that ship inventory, we could mark off cells pretty quickly through the grid that were either isolated, couldn't be a 2-ship section or larger placement, or themselves were now finishing out columns or rows. So hope you got a little bit of a sense of how to work through this variation. Again, some tips and tricks to look at Battleships puzzles as a whole. We'll see you again soon.